Hello again, everyone. This is Robbie Payne here with a full review of the HP Chromebook 11. I got the device in a few days ago, got a chance to unbox it and kind of give you guys my initial impressions of it. Spent the better part of 2 days with it now, and I want to kind of give you a fuller review. I saw a few people online complaining that there wasn't a whole lot of video time spent with this device yet, and people are still kind of wondering some better specifics about the device, things it can and can't do. Since I posted that the first impressions video, I've gotten all kinds of questions about it and the things it's capable of, not capable of, those kind of things. So I want to attempt to answer those questions and give you guys kind of an idea about it. Following this, you should see the review of the Chromebook 14, which I've also spent a lot of time with. I've kind of had them side by side a lot. And then I'm going to do a video with them literally side by side and kind of show you some of the performance differences specifically, and then some of the exterior differences as well, the screen, keyboard, trackpad, those kind of things. Anyway, what I want to stick to on this one is specifics about this device, and I'm going to try my best not to get into a whole lot of how it compares with the HP 14. I'll leave that to a different video. I just want to talk about this device in and of itself, and really probably the better comparison for this device would be last year's Samsung Chromebook, the Series 3, from a performance perspective anyway. From an exterior perspective, it's a whole different machine, but the interior part is different. So we'll start with the exterior, we'll move our way in. As I said in the initial unboxing, I'm still incredibly pleased with the overall feel and look of this device. I like the fact that the lid closes nice and snug. I like the LED bar. I'll open that up for you and kind of turn it over this way so you can kind of see. Now, it's not real dark in here, so it doesn't look real bright, but it looks really neat and slightly, less light. I've got a bunch of lights turned on in here because it's nighttime, and I want to make sure this isn't grainy looking. But the LED bar is cool. I've already had a few people comment on that. Hopefully that's something that Google sticks with in its Chrome development as time goes by, because it's a really, really, really neat look. Another thing, build quality wise, that I've been real happy with, I'm going to crank the screen up here, that I've been real happy with is the fact that they went with a matte finish around the edges here. Everything else is glossy plastic, and yes, it picks up fingerprints just like any other glossy plastic. I never understand reviews and they say, oh, this is a fingerprint magnet. Oh, it's glossy. Of course it is. And when glass screens are a fingerprint magnet, well, if it's glass, it is. I mean, it's just the way it works. And the same thing is true with this. If you really turn it in the light, you can see the fingerprints, but since it's white, for the most part, you can't tell at all, which is kind of a nice design thing. I'm sure the piano black version of this device probably just looks like a mess of fingerprints all over it, I would think, because like I said, you can see them on this if you hold it in the right light, but it's not distracting. You don't even think about it. But because the lid in this area, you touch it so much, closing and opening, closing and opening, closing and opening. And this device, because of its size and its weight, tends to feel more tablet-like, I guess would be a good word for it, as far as the way you would use it around the house. And so I'm tempted to sit down on the couch and plop it open, whereas the Chromebook 14, for instance, or any other full-size laptop, tend not to grab that all the time. Whereas my wife's got the Series 3 Samsung Chromebook, and it sits right by the couch. So it's sometimes she's on her smartphone, but a lot of times she reaches under, pulls that thing out, and uses that instead. And so because of that, you're opening and closing the lid all the time. And so I really appreciate the matte finish. I know that's a small detail, but it makes a big difference. And I like the fact that they put Chrome in Chrome letters here. So when it's open and people are looking at it, they're prone to ask, what is that? What kind of tab or laptop is that? Or is that an old MacBook, or whatever the question may be? And then they see Chrome on there, and it kind of opens the conversation about what exactly this guy is. Up top, the camera is suitable, I guess, for Hangouts. As they transition Hangouts into full-on 720p across the board, it will be sad for it not to be recording in 720p. And it's passable for video chats, but it's not great. I even noticed just opening the camera quote-unquote app on here, a little bit of lag. I wasn't even recording or doing anything. It was just jumping around a little bit, and so that's kind of a shame. Moving down to the keyboard, fantastic. Real quiet in here. Barely makes any sound. Travels great. Responsiveness is great. I could really type fast on this guy. No problems whatsoever at all with the keyboard. Really enjoy the keyboard. And underneath the keyboard sits those uniquely placed speakers. And I played those in the initial video. While I'm talking, I'll load up Spotify so you can kind of hear that. But yeah, just really impressed with the speaker quality on this thing. I'm gonna turn the brightness back down so we're not washing the video out here. It's, you know, not come off like surround sound, but it just has a really nice full sound. Not gonna replace speakers, you know, that kind of thing. But just really good stuff. Let's find something that might give you a full sound here. My playlists here, and the computer does decently with this, and this is a pretty heavy site, to be honest. This is one of my favorite CDs right now, Capital City, so we'll play safe and sound here and crank the volume up. So you can hear really loud, and it's a really unique experience to have the sound just kind of coming up at you from a laptop like this. It's just it's unique. Well done. Again, I like the internals of this device. I just do. The rounded nature of it feels really good as your hands are sitting here typing or spending a lot of time with the trackpad. Trackpad in general is good. It's responsive. It's not the best I've used. I still think the Samsung outdoes it, and definitely the HP 14. I know I said I wasn't going to mention it too much. The HP 14's trackpad's a little better than this one. It's a little smoother. This one, if you've just washed your hands, that you don't have much oil on them at all, it glides around just fine. But you know, after a little bit, you got a little bit of oil on your hands, or you've just eaten lunch, and just the slightest bit. If you can kind of hear that, I don't know if you can hear that's picking up or not. It can get a little sticky, but the clicking is nice and quiet, and it's been a serviceable trackpad. It's not bad or annoying. I would say it's, you know, mediocre. I used many a better trackpad, but it's not the worst by any stretch of the imagination. As far as build, you know, there's some give up here. Cool thing is, I can open this without holding the bottom down. I think I said something about that in the unboxing. I like that feature in any hardware. There's really no give to the bottom part of this thing. I mean, it definitely, the whole, I forget what they said it was that they put in this, I'll say magnesium frame or something, but a metallic frame inside this really causes it to be nice and firm. The top is not so much. There's a lot of give in that, but, you know, it's the top of a laptop. It's not that big of a deal. I did notice when picking it up this way quite a few times, there's something in here that gives. Well, I just did it. I don't know if you could hear that. It kind of snaps when the screen goes from here to here. Listen. Just that click. There's something, I don't know, over here. But just those little creaks and clacks and slight gives in the frame. It does cause it a little bit of cheapening in the feel, but overall, not really. It feels like a really neat device, a really nice device. Again, in case you all haven't seen or didn't take time to watch the unboxing or anything like that, or you're just coming across this video, just for a quick run around, we do have a micro USB port. That's how it charges, which is unique. The charger that comes with it has a nice long cord and is a 3 amp block, and so that's a full amp larger. Most phones are 1 to 1.5 amp, Most tablets, iPads, that kind of thing are 2 amp. This is a 3 amp, so it's really pushing some juice out. I don't know if it would charge your phone fast. I don't know if that's good for your phone or not. I don't know enough about all that stuff to tell you whether that's an okay thing to do. Google touts it as something you can do, so hopefully they've done the research and you're not going to burn your battery up doing that. I don't know. No USB 3.0, just USB 2.0 here. And for a Chromebook, honestly, I've not found a reason to really necessitate 3.0. It's only got 16 gigs of onboard storage, so there's not a whole lot of need to be transferring stuff to it. So take that for what it's worth. Combo jack here, earphone, microphone. Soft touch down here. This is what gives it its padding / its area to hold it. Like I was saying earlier, there's that kind of clicking that's happening down here. I don't know if something's just not sealed up well on this one. I'm not sure what it is, but it kind of gives you a place to hold it there, a little grippy area. The only markings you see on the device, you got HP down here and Google, and I don't know, with the light shining off that, I can see a ton of fingerprints on it now. That if I'm holding it like this, I can't. If I'm holding it like this, I can. So otherwise, that's it. There's nothing else on the device. No screws, no vents, none of that stuff, which is really nice. Like I said, everything on the outside of this device, I really like. So, shall we talk about the inside part of the device? On the inside, you have last year's Samsung Exynos Dual 5250 processor, clocked at 1.7 gigahertz with 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of onboard storage. Now, from what I've read online, it's the exact same processor, it's the exact same solid state, but the RAM, they're not sure. I haven't read anything completely positive saying yes, it is better or worse, but it is different. So I'm not sure on the RAM. So we're looking at largely internally the exact same machine that Samsung put out last year. And so what it boils down to is this: if you have a Samsung ARM Chromebook from last year and the lagginess of performance is making you want to pull your hair out, this is not going to fix that. This device will not change that fact. There are some hints, hopefully, that Google is really gearing some stuff with Chrome OS towards ARM development, and you would think that with them putting the exact same processor in as last year. And another note on the whole ARM processor thing, from what I've read online, again, I'm getting my information from the internet, so take it with a little grain of salt, but from what I've read online, Chrome OS is not optimized to use more than 2 cores. So that puts Google in an interesting position with ARM processors, because ultimately there's not a whole lot of dual core ARM processors out there. Because I kept asking myself, why in the world would they put the Snapdragon 6 or 800 in this, which are monsters. I mean, they are beasts of processors. I don't know if you guys have looked up benchmarks, but check out benchmarks on the Snapdragon 800 especially. That thing absolutely flies, and I can't understand why they wouldn't put that in here. But my thought is perhaps, and this is not fact, this is just my thoughts, perhaps because Chrome OS is not optimized for quad-core processors, maybe those processors would not help. I don't know. And or Google is really planning to work on Chrome OS to really fly on an ARM-based SoC. I don't know if that's the case. Because I do know that the Nexus 10, while not the fastest machine on the market, is still pretty quick and still handles a lot of stuff and does a great amount of processing power. So it's the exact same SoC. So I'm really unsure as to why Chrome OS struggles like it does a lot of times, because it seems like Chrome OS is a bit lighter, obviously, than Android even. So it could just be some software optimization. There have been some discussions in Google Plus even about tab casting and Chromecasting working way better on the dev channel on a Samsung ARM Chromebook, again, same hardware inside. It working much better on the dev channel. So that could be the case. Don't know. I'm crossing my fingers, because there's a part of me that wants so badly to love this device, to really want this to be my Chromebook. It's just not there yet performance-wise. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of some things that surprised me and some things that were really bad. Pocket is one of them, and I've got my Pocket set up with if this then that, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with that service. If you're not, check it out. It's awesome. If this then that, basically it has tie-ins with tons of services, and you can say, if I do this, then do this. And so I've got it set up for a few RSS feeds, basically, to say, hey, if they post something new, put it in my pocket. And so my pocket ends up being kind of a cool, pretty much up-to-date newsreader, because the way the pocket lays things out is really nice. And you can see there's no lag whatsoever in this. Now you got some checkerboarding. That's just part of it. You know, checkerboarding, as long as it goes away quick, doesn't bother me that bad. But you can see, I mean, it's nice and smooth. You know, jumping in and pick any article here, jump in it, boom, load it up, nice and smooth. Go back, and so I thought Pocket would really just kind of barf all over this, and it runs perfectly. I couldn't ask for it to run better. So it's things like that that make me think, well, maybe it's just software optimization. Maybe I don't know, because that seems to run no problem whatsoever. You know, your file manager and your basic Google applications work just fine, no problem. But then I've had a lot of questions about games, and so this is an interesting one called Cracking Sands, a little go-kart in the desert kind of thing. I don't know. Didn't play it too much. It didn't seem really that fun. It's not bad or anything. And I'll just go ahead and say again, I'm not trying to compare everything to the HP 14, Chromebook 14. Running this on the Chromebook 14, it's got perfect frame rates, never drops, never stutters, never lags, nothing. I mean, it runs perfect, and you'll see that in a future video. We're just going to do a single race real quick. Let's do a time trial. Let's do this one. Okay, and this is running, you know, some slight 3D graphics. It's nothing amazing. And I don't even know how this is coming across on camera. It's probably difficult to see. But frame rates are pretty low. I would say probably in the 15 area, something like that. It's pretty laggy. And so it makes it really difficult to play, because it almost feels like when you go to move, it kind of moves after the fact. Whereas I didn't suck nearly as bad on the HP, on the Chromebook 14. It just seems like it takes it a minute to actually adjust to anything you're doing. But, you know, it runs it, not amazingly, but it gets by. But here's where it gets interesting. Now I'm going to open up what I would think would be a lighter weight game, Cut the Rope. You know, everybody loves Cut the Rope. And I'll throw Angry Birds in this exact same scenario. It does the exact same thing. I'm just going to go to play. And here in a second, I'm going to get a message, actually. Cut the Rope's going to pop up, but you can see it. I mean, we're running, you know, probably single-digit frames per second. So I'm going to just cut these so you can see kind of how slow it goes. It's literally moving in slow motion. What's really interesting is, if I go, let's say I go back to the menu here. This part, see these animations? Smooth as silk. But you get into rendering the game, and it really causes some problems. I'm trying to see if it'll come up with this message here in a second. There it goes. A little too slow. Om is sad. It's running too slow. So, you know, there's some issues whenever that's happening. So, again, I really think it could just be they haven't optimized that game to take advantage of the processor, which could be the problem with Chrome OS in general at this point. What I did do earlier, this is another thing that I was asked to do. I will do that for you. Is open up a bunch of pretty heavy things all at once. The Verge, Google Plus, Spotify. Let's do some YouTube. And I'm going to throw Twitter in there, because Twitter is one of those sites for some reason that just runs like garbage on this, and it did on the Samsung as well. I've scrolled twice. I'm still waiting for it to respond here. Oh, there it goes. So you can count the number of seconds. So I'll scroll. Oh, that went pretty much 2, 3. So about 2 to 3 second delay in scrolling. Really unresponsive. So I don't know what it is with Twitter's website that causes that to happen. Again, unfortunately, I'm going to have to open up my own videos because I don't want to get myself in any kind of trouble. So we'll just play that. Alright folks, this is Robbie Payne with a quick unboxing / login with the all-new HP Chromebook 14. Now this is the green model. It doesn't look that green, even on the screen. Just loading up. 7 that I'm recording this with right now. I'm real impressed with Spotify. It's another one of those things that you just never know. How about some John Mayer? You kind of see on the side of the box here, they make the green look incredibly green. And so I didn't really want this. I wanted the white one. They just didn't have one in stock. Side note, I did get this. I picked this up today. Seeing here John Mayer playing, videos running. A lot of artifacting happens on YouTube on this, whether there's a bunch of stuff going on or not. It's strange. We got the Verge loaded up, and you know it's laggy and poor frame rates on the scroll, but it's running. You know, it's going. We'll go ahead and start that video even. How about that? Pull up Google Plus, which it notoriously struggles on, and we're kind of getting that same slow scroll. But you know what? I'm going to use 3 fingers. If you don't know this, you can use 3 fingers to swipe between tabs. You know, it's not shutting any of them down. So that was our first hiccup there. My guess is that's probably RAM limitations, more than likely. I'm cramming a lot of stuff in the RAM there. So the 2 gig RAM, that's probably where you get some limitations when you start streaming all that kind of stuff. And again, guys, it's about knowing your limitations and knowing what you're getting into. This thing is not a powerhouse machine. It's not a gaming rig. It's a do a couple things at one time kind of machine. And so if you know that getting into it, maybe it wouldn't bother you, the performance issues. And you'll know that you're going to come across certain websites that it's just not going to like. Whereas there are going to be some that really just surprise you. Ultimately, and I don't think I touched on this early in the beginning, I kind of skipped by this, you know, the screen is great. When sat side by side with pretty much any other laptop around, especially anyone with a TN panel, this is including the HP 14, the Samsung Series 3, the Acer C7. I haven't seen a 720 yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be roughly the same panel. Any of those guys, you put this thing next to it and it makes them look really bad. It just is pretty. It's not on the level of a glass paneled IPS display, so your side viewing angles, you can see it dim out a little bit there. That's not the camera. It dims out a little bit. We're not getting any polarization of the color, but it does kind of gray out just a little bit on the edges. Then front and back, the same thing there too. But for the most part, it looks great from any angle. And the blacks are nice and deep. The contrast looks awesome. The color reproduction is great. I enjoy it. And as I've said probably 10 times already in this review, I can't stress enough that everything on the outside of this package I love. I really do. I have no qualms with any of it. The only thing I probably said anything negative about was the trackpad. And again, it's completely serviceable. It's not like it's a horrendous thing. And so, again, I'll kind of close in by saying, if you had last year's Samsung or know somebody that did and you've used it for a little bit, any of those things, and you liked it, and you thought, hey, this is a pretty good machine, I could use this on the couch, we could pass this around, let the kids use it, that kind of thing. This guy is a huge improvement over the Samsung Series 3, simply in build quality and materials on the outside of it. If you've had one of those or you've used one and thought, my goodness, I could never use that on a day-to-day basis, it would drive me nuts, you're really not getting any performance bump here. Again, maybe in the future it will get better. It has gotten better, I know, because the Samsung Series 3, the ARM Chromebook, when it came out last year, I got it immediately and just about sent it back because it was pretty rough at the onset. But my wife, you know, she emails and Facebook and, you know, check Amazon, that kind of quick stuff on hers. And so she was fine with it. And she had a really, really old, heavy, clunky Dell laptop at the time. And so we got rid of it, or, you know, put it away. Ended up getting rid of it, giving it away. But, you know, she started using it. And I went probably 6-8 months without using a Chromebook. And had kind of written it off. When the Pixel came out, it got me interested. I thought about it. And then when some of the newer Chromebooks started coming out, I got interested again and started looking like the Samsung 550 and those kind of things. And so it brought me back in the fold because I picked hers up, and all of a sudden 6-8 months later the thing ran way better than it did at the beginning. And so I say all that to say this: there's a chance that 6 months down the road, there's a really high probability this thing's going to run a lot better than it does right now, and that somebody a few months down the road reading this, you need to check out one in a store and see what it's doing. If you look at the date on this video and go, hey, it's been 4 or 5 months, because Chrome OS gets updated every 6 weeks, and so they're really pushing things forward. And I have to imagine they're spending some serious time in ARM architecture specifically if they decided to go that way with this guy that is so specifically Google centric. So I say everything and all of that to say this: I like it. I enjoy the device. It is a step up from last year, but it's still not quite there as far as being a daily use machine for me. It's going to work for some people. It's not going to work for me. Probably work well in educational areas and people that want to kind of pass it around the living room. Hopefully we'll see some improvements software-wise down the road. But the thing looks good, feels good on the outside, and I really, really like a lot of the things that Google has done design-wise with this machine. And it just excites me to see where Chromebooks are going in general because of devices like this that hopefully are going to say, hey, we got to have better displays, and hey, we got to have better keyboards, and hey, we got to have better design cues on a Chromebook. Stop using old PCs. And so I think this is a step in the right direction for that. So hope you enjoyed the review, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll have one up for the 14-inch, and we'll have a side-by-side with these two guys. Catch you later.